Welcome to the Nonprofit SideKick podcast. Changing the world is hard work, and nonprofit leaders are wearing all the hats while herding all of the cats, and it can get really lonely. You could use a sidekick.
We think of ourselves as your partners in mastering the unique balancing act of nonprofit leadership. Our goal is to provide insights, coaching, and direction for nonprofit leaders, both the heart and soul of nonprofit leadership and the nuts and bolts of nonprofit management. We're your hosts, Wendy Burtner
And Stephanie Masters.
Today, we're going to talk about how having the right mindset is crucial for a nonprofit leader. It can make or break your day, your week, your month, how you lead your organization. Our experience, we've seen 3 different ways that nonprofit leaders think about things, the mindset that they're in, and why the one side is really good and the other side can be really bad, but it's sometimes where we end up.
It is. And what I think we see so many times is that people come from this deficit mindset,
Right.
that they're always catching up or they're always trying to fix something. And so having the right mindset, and when you and I get to coach individuals and work with organizations, getting them to see it from that different perspective.
Right, because when you're leading a nonprofit, you are low on resources, time, people, money, all the time. And that weighs on you. It gets really heavy. So your mindset can be one of scarcity, that we never have enough money, we never have enough people, we never have enough time to fulfill our mission. And it can take quite a bit of work for somebody to change that mindset. And the leader is the one who has to kind of start with that. They have to start. They have to start thinking of abundance. We have enough to do what we need to do. What is that? Coming in every day thinking we are doing good work. Our mission is a great mission. We may not have all the money we want. We might not have the millions and millions that we want to do the mission, but we're doing really good work, and always looking at it from that really positive side. That abundance is kind of the trendy word that people use, but it really helps when you're looking at it through that lens instead of the we don't have enough lens.
And the abundance mindset is really about positive psychology. If leaders are setting the tone and they're teaching and embracing the fact that there are resources, that there is time, that there is space to be able to develop, grow, and innovate, it makes a tremendous difference. If we're leading in a way where we're always thinking that the sky is falling, that where's our next grant going to come from, what it does is it leads to that burnout. It leads to individuals really struggling in working and staying in this space.
Yeah, when I was a CEO, I had an opportunity I had an opportunity to run an organization. About 3 months into it, we lost a major grant. It was almost half of our budget. And so, of course, everybody from the board to the volunteer, everybody in between spiraled down into this, oh my gosh, what are we going to have to do? So we had to do the hard work of laying people off, reorganizing. But then about a month into that, I got kind of hit in the side of the head, and somebody brought this to my attention that my mindset was totally focused on the scarcity. I was looking at the numbers every single day. How are we going to do this? And I forgot the good work that the organization was doing. And I saw this in action when I started to purposefully think differently, purposefully change how I came into work every day. And then the rest of the staff got behind it. And we started counting the good stuff we're doing instead of how little money we had or how few people we had to do the work that we needed to do.
Yeah. There's this fantastic researcher that, you and I have talked about many times, Carol Dweck. And Carol Dweck talks about really there's 2 distinctions. We either have a closed mindset about the way that we look at what we're doing, how we're working, and an open mindset. And an open mindset is that positive psychology. What's possible versus what are the limitations that we're putting on ourselves when we decide to do this work?
And our staff and our volunteers and everybody else. And that mindset, having that negative, that scarcity mindset, can also lead to the leader having a martyr mindset. We work with a lot of clients, and I know I've had it myself, where it's like, I work so hard, my board doesn't help, volunteers aren't helpful, I just need more help. You just kind of become this martyr when you start to wallow in that, instead of thinking of yourself as a creator, as I'm creating good in the world. I'm making good change in the world with my nonprofit and with my mission. We see that a lot. And I think people get to that point and that's when they say, oh, maybe I need some help.
Yeah.
They call us to coach or do something when they really, and sometimes they don't see it, right? Sometimes we just don't see when we bring that martyr out. That's hard.
And the martyr mindset can really impact the relationships with volunteers, with the board, with the staff. And it starts to create this us versus them. It can really negatively impact the organization. And so that martyr mindset then trickles out into the organization and negatively impacts the culture.
Right. And that leads to the third mindset we talk about all the time, which is leader versus employee. And this is specifically to the leadership team. Sometimes it's just the ED or the CEO. But it can be hard to get your mind that you are a leader, to get in your mind that you are a leader, that because you have this board that you're reporting to. So, we are brought up in hierarchical structures. We automatically respect the board, most of us. And so we start like responding or waiting for the board to tell us what to do. And I think part of the purpose of this podcast that we want to do is encourage leaders in the nonprofit sector to own that leadership, that yes, you're an employee of the organization, but you are a leader. You set the tone. Your mindset affects everybody else in the organization, including the board.
I like the word encourage, and I would add empower.
Yeah.
Is that give power back to the ED to understand that they are responsible for the vision, the direction, the culture of the organization, and then being able to go to the board and say, this is what we're creating. This is why it's going to have impact. And that helps the board look at it from an open mindset as well, is that rather than looking at, oh, we don't have enough money, you don't have enough time, we can't do all of these things, that they're focusing more on the possibilities than the limitations.
Yeah, and that is a great example of how executive directors, CEOs have to lead up. A lot of experts in the field will say, don't lead up, your board is the leader, all of that. And I respect that. I respect the hierarchy. But I also know, having lived it, that you're in the seat every single day and you have to set the tone. So it's not so much leading up where you're telling the board what to do. And I know some of you do have to tell the board what to do. But, if we're talking in this theoretical perfect world of nonprofit leadership, it's setting the tone. It's having the right mindset that then you can spread out to the board, to the staff, to anybody that really needs to have that incorporated for the success of your organization.
So for any EDs that are listening, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I might have a closed mindset. So what are the things that you can do to be able to change from closed to open?
And then in a ball in the corner.
Hire a coach. I know too. But it's also every day getting up and doing like positive intention. What are the things that we are capable of doing today? What are the things that we can look at? How can we engage? And so Carol Dweck truly believes that we can change from being, closed off and thinking that we have all of these limitations and challenges to what are the possibilities. And so it's every day. How are you communicating? How are you engaging with staff? Are your behaviors and what you say and how you say it modeling either a closed mindset or an open mindset?
And not but
because this is heart and soul and nuts and bolts.
That's right. So the nuts and bolts side of this is I always encourage people, you don't have to have this big old strategic plan, but you should have some sort of roadmap. What are your goals? How do you know you're going to be successful at those goals? What are you measuring to get there? And it doesn't have to be a big production, but when you have that, you can go in with a little bit more positive mindset when you have one that's realistic, right? And doing that every day, helping your own mindset is going to, but also knowing like, this is where we're going. Everybody get on board because this is where we're going. That's another way to keep everybody else's mindset, to lead that idea of mindset is important in the organization.
And sometimes we need support to be able to change that. I think so many of us have been in a place where if we're stuck in that fixed or closed mindset, that we need somebody to hold us accountable through that to create consistency and sustainability of, hey, this is what we're capable of doing.
The end.
Wendy, can you recap the types of mindsets that nonprofit leaders can have?
We talk about kind of three. We talk about scarcity versus abundance. You want to have an abundant mindset, not a scarcity. Be realistic, but be thinking of all the good stuff you are doing. You are meeting your mission. How are you doing that? Martyr versus creator. If you are feeling sorry for yourself, if you find yourself kind of complaining to your friends all the time, we all get there, but you can fix it. You can say, look at all this good stuff that we're doing. We are creating this wonderful change, this wonderful mission, whatever it is you're trying to do. And then the third is a leader versus employee. And I encourage this for the entire leadership team, whether it's one person or a group of people, to really respect your board, but be thinking, have your mindset around, I'm leading this organization. We are making sure that we are meeting our mission, or attempting to anyway.
So once people understand what type of mindset they're coming into, we've talked a little bit about, some of the strategies. It's in what we say, it's how we say, and how we show up every day. So it starts with day one. What's one thing that you're willing to do differently to model these open mindsets versus closed?
And who do you want to talk to about that? Exactly. Are there other people at the organization? Because again, we go back to, it can be lonely. Running a nonprofit can be lonely, but can you take this out to other people and begin to influence the mindset of the entire organization?
I like that, Wendy.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you need more information or would like to work with us, check out our website at nonprofit SideKick.com.